What can and should the president do now to fix this?
Well, I think get down to work, get back to work, and continue to lean into the reasons why Joe Biden is running for president, running for re-election, which are the same reasons that were in force when the sun came up yesterday. Right now, one of two things is going to happen in this country. Either we go back to the chaos of Donald Trump, who has shown repeatedly that he is prepared to take away rights and freedoms, like a woman's right to choose, that he is going to side with the rich and powerful and cut taxes for the rich, and undermine democracy, or continue with what Joe Biden has established for this country with record economic growth, everything that a president can do to expand, not restrict rights and freedoms, the kind of infrastructure package, of course, that Donald Trump promised and failed to do, that Joe Biden promised and delivered, and all of the other reasons why this is not just about what we are trying to prevent, but what we are trying to sustain and continue with, because Joe Biden's presidency has been among the most productive and successful in American history. Just look at what has been achieved. And many of those things, by the way, were achieved in a way that is specific to President Biden's approach to leadership, notably bipartisan wins on things like the infrastructure package. The people said you couldn't do it. And he not only did it, but did it in a bipartisan way that specifically vindicates his approach to leadership. So, look, we got to get out there. Just because you are on the right side of the American people with all the policy arguments doesn't mean you automatically get to win an election. That's what campaigns are about. It is June right now, and on the road to November, every day will be a day to continue getting that message out. But no one day, no one event, even an important one, defines a campaign.
That was Pete Buttigieg putting things into perspective here. Did Joe Biden have a bad debate performance? Absolutely. But here's the thing. We are not voting for Joe Biden based on his debate performance. We shouldn't vote for any president based on his debate performance. Frankly, debating isn't even a skill that serves a president at any point in his presidency other than in this one specific instance during a campaign. We vote for presidents based on their ability to govern and the agenda that they are promising to pass. In both of those instances, Joe Biden is the better candidate for the job. First off, we have the luxury, or, well, severe nightmarish disadvantage of knowing what life in America is like under both Donald Trump and Joe Biden. I know our attention spans are short, but let's not forget life under Donald Trump. Let us not forget that his sole legislative accomplishment was a tax cut that overwhelmingly favored millionaires and billionaires like him. Let's not forget him downplaying the severity of COVID, causing the US to have the most cases and deaths in the entire world. Let's not forget him abandoning our allies and coddling the world's dictators. Let's not forget him enacting a policy of family separation of migrant children at the border. Let's not forget him emboldening neo-Nazis and white supremacists to the point that they were literally marching in the streets in full view of the public like this is Nazi Germany. And let's not forget that his final act in office was to prevent a peaceful transfer of power for the first time in this nation's history. He is an aspiring dictator, and he has broadcast as much. And everything that he couldn't enact in his first term will 100% be enacted this next term, only worse. Only without those Republicans in place to prevent him from overstepping. There won't be any Adam Kinzingers or Liz Cheneys or Mike Pences or Mitt Romneys to keep him in check. If you thought that a first term was dangerous, it will seem tame compared to a second. Contrast that with Joe Biden. In his time in office, he didn't disband our alliances or punch down on the vulnerable. He led the US to the fastest recovery in the entire world. He secured record climate spending and got the government to finally negotiate lower drug prices for Americans, along with capping out-of-pocket healthcare costs for seniors and the cost of insulin and inhalers. He passed the Inflation Reduction Act. He got veteran health care with the PACT Act, upgraded our nation's infrastructure with the infrastructure law, created a clean energy boom with the CHIPS Act, made kids safer thanks to the gun safety law, added 800,000 manufacturing jobs, 300,000 clean energy jobs, and 15 million total jobs. He presided over a record stock market, a record economic recovery, sinking inflation, higher wages, and the strongest economy in the entire world. The results speak for themselves. If we're wondering what a second Biden term would look like, it is continuing the work that he started to protect the working class, not the kind of wealthy donors who fund Republicans' campaigns. The question before us is simple. We are not voting to reward or punish anyone. The question before us is, what kind of a country are we going to live in moving forward? Is it a country that respects women's reproductive rights or one that strips them away? Is it a country that respects LGBTQ rights or one that doesn't? Is it a country that takes seriously the existential threat of climate change, or one that panders to fossil fuel companies? Is it a country that seeks to curb gun violence, or one that will allow for the proliferation of weapons of war in this country? Is it a country that seeks to make healthcare more affordable, or one that will entrench the status quo? A country that thinks working class Americans deserve dignity, or one that will only seek to help the wealthiest among us? I know the country I want to live in, and I recognize very clearly that there is only one party that will deliver that outcome to me. Look, Joe Biden has been a stellar president, but that's beside the point. The point is that Biden is a vehicle for the kind of future that we want to see. Is he perfect? Not at all. But I know that I would rather live in a country where Joe Biden is in charge than one where Donald Trump is in charge. And that is why I'm voting for Biden. Again, not because he's some master debater or a terrible debater. The notion that I would predicate my future and my family's future on some dude's debate performance is frankly insulting. I don't care what happened on that stage. I care about what they're going to do in office. And on that point, the contrast couldn't be more clear, and my choice couldn't be more obvious. And finally, for those who do need a little reassurance on Biden, here you go.
No, I'm not a young man. State the obvious. Well, I know. Well, I don't. Folks, I don't walk as easy as I used to. I don't speak as smoothly as I used to. I don't debate as well as I used to. But I know what I do know. I know how to tell the truth. I know right from wrong. And I know how to do this job. I know how to get things done. And I know, like millions of Americans know, when you get knocked down, you get back up. I know what it took to take our economy from the depths of the pandemic to where it is today, the strongest economy in the world. I know what it'll take to bring this economy to everybody. I know what it'll take to rally the world to stand up against Putin and defend freedom, not yield to him. And I know what it'll take to keep the world safe and free for the years ahead. Folks, I give you my word as a Biden, I would not be running again if I didn't believe with all my heart and soul I can do this job. Because quite frankly, the stakes are too high. The stakes are too high. Donald Trump is a genuine threat to this nation. He's a threat to our freedom. He's a threat to our democracy. He's literally a threat for everything America stands for.
I've got a really exciting announcement. I've written a book. It's called Shameless. This book explores how Republicans have exploited their historical branding while attacking our democracy, how the media has proven itself a willful participant, and how Democrats can learn from this to rebalance the political scales and save our democracy. It has been a lifelong dream of mine to write my own book, and so I'd like to ask you to pre-order it by clicking the link right here on the screen. And if you buy within this pre-order period, your book is going to come with a signed nameplate. As you know, I've never had a single sponsor on my channel. I don't ask for money or anything like that, but if you're looking for a way to support me, this is hands down the best way to do it. So again, follow the link right here on the screen, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for pre-ordering Shameless. And as always, make sure to subscribe to see more of my content.